Now, I know dependent on what country you live in is very much dependent on the sort of news that you get. And it actually varies so much from people living in a country in regards to what they actually experience and the headlines in another country doing something like, well, sensationalizing it. In the US, maybe you can help us out a little bit here, but we're getting headlines here in the UK about the US. And it's a literal headline that says, "Prepare for the next pandemic now." And this is in relation to bird flu. What else? I think they dropped the Mpox, didn't they? And a few others, but bird flu hasn't seemed to disappear. The crystal ball came out with the likes of Fauci and Billy G. Yeah, they have quite remarkable skills at predicting what may or may not come about in the future. And Fauci and alike have certainly done some big talks, big talk ups on the prospect of bird flu. So the headlines that we're getting now here in the UK is the US must brace itself for the next pandemic now, because bird flu has spread to all 50 states. Now, I know, again, over the past year or so, maybe even longer than that, there's been a lot of talk about issues in the US with chickens. There's been over 150 million killed, apparently, because of this bird flu. And the price of eggs has been a big one in the news as well, hasn't it, in regards to the massive increase in that, which tends to happen when you do that sort of stuff to chickens and cull so many, right? Tends to increase things like prices and cause a whole lot of issues. But maybe you can help us out, our friends across the pond, what's actually going on, because what's in the media and what reality is can be quite polar opposites, can't it? And, prepare for pandemic now, really. I've always been surprised when it comes to bird flu how it typically, if not completely, affects just the birds that we eat, and it's jumped to humans. But there's a lot of debates about it jumping between humans, things like that. I'm sure they'll sort it all out though, and I'm sure we'll continue to get more updates as it progresses. Ta ta.